Hey guys, Wanderbot here, and welcome to something a little bit different, Grave of Man related. So I got a lot of requests over the past couple of weeks asking for how do I make these maps. If you didn't already know, I've handmade every single map and pretty much every single asset actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that has been shown in the campaign. Everything has been completely hand done, custom made, so on and so forth. I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit while we talk here. Because at this point, I gotta set the stage for some other more important things, and we don't need these doodles everywhere. Okay, I'll leave that there, now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe they'll go back, maybe they won't. Anyway, so yeah, how do I make these maps? It's actually really simple, sort of. So fair warning, I am an artist, to begin with. So I have some amount of knowledge and expertise in the area that, you know, gives me a bit of an edge, but anybody can do this. So I use Adobe Illustrator, specifically, to make all of my maps. And what I've done here is I've got a grid. So I guess I'm going to go back to Roll20 for a moment. So if we pop out the page toolbar and we go into the page settings, you can see grid enabled, size 1 units, diagonals, kind of not that important, type square. You can also do hexes and stuff like that, but I didn't want to do it because it was kind of a pain in the butt. Anyway, oh yeah, here we go. Page size, 60 by 50 units. Scale, 1 unit is 5 feet, and 1 unit is also 70 pixels. So that means each one of these squares had to be set to 70 pixels. So if you want to do this in Illustrator, you go Preferences, Guides and Grid, there we go. And you want to set grid line every 70 pixels. And you can set subdivision, so if I want to have like 4 subdivisions, it'll make it a little bit messier. You can still see the main grid, but there's little subdivisions giving you a little bit more room to work with if you want to have like fractional stuff. But for now, I'm going to get rid of subdivisions, just set that back up to 1. Okay, so this is going to be an official tutorial, and if you want me to go more in depth, I can. But I'm just going to go over a basic overview of how I put together a map. Technically, any program can do this. You can do this in Photoshop, you can do this in Illustrator, you can do this in Paint, but it's not, I mean, your mileage will vary depending on what programs you use. Unfortunately, I've been using Photoshop for the last, 14 years, so I don't exactly know a whole lot of free alternatives. They exist, but I'm not sure how good they are, and at some point I could look into them. But right now this is focused on how do I make these things. Okay, so once you've set up the grid using Edit Preferences, Guides and Grid, set it to 70 pixels, 1 subdivision. Now we got this. If you don't get the grid showing up immediately, you got to do View, Hide Grid, or View, Show Grid. Now, I have something a little bit different, so I'm actually going to hide the grid. The other thing is you want to turn on Snap to Grid. It helps. So if I do this, if you notice the rectangle is constrained to every limitation of the grid. It helps a lot when laying things out and so on and so forth. Now I've done something a little bit different. I've actually got a blue grid here. I don't think the grids support color very well, and they don't overlay well either. I can show why I did this later. But so what I did is I made a blue grid that is just a bunch of 70 pixel wide, tall boxes just layered on top of each other until it fills the entire canvas. And that lets me do, lets me select the whole thing and set it to multiply. So if I lock this layer, if I put something underneath, and let's make it this, even though it's the exact same color, the multiply makes the grid on top of it darker. It just looks nicer, it's easier on the eyes, and that way I can show and hide the other grid with ease. Okay, so now that we've done this, we've got to make a map. Now, admittedly, I don't have a pre-made map. This is not going to be one of those situations where I start, like, squiggling on the canvas and then we turn around slightly later and it's like, and here's the map that's completely custom done. No, we're not going to be doing that, mainly because I can't. I'm not prepared enough for that. So anyway, let's switch this back to black, bring it up to 5. And I apologize if a number of you guys watching this don't have Illustrator and don't know. You'll just have to kind of bear with me on this one. So I'm just setting it to a nice, flat, 5-point uniform line. So if we do this, it's a nice thick line. We could go thicker. Sometimes I go thicker when it comes to, like, you know, the outside of an area. but I find five points is usually fairly reasonable. So, what we want to do is, unfortunately this part's a bit hard because I haven't sketched this out yet. I'm not entirely sure. But so this video is going to be going up a little bit ahead of time. Oh, how do I... Huh. Okay. Well... So here's my problem. Shell, the player for Alarin, is sitting directly behind me, and I'm like, oh wait, I can't really talk about what I'm doing here. That's a problem. Well, alright, whatever, we'll just be coy here, or something. Okay, so, disclaimers have been made. Shell knows maybe not, to not metagame this. I don't know. This is the problem with living with, one of the people in your D&D campaign. There's a very real possibility they'll know. Anyway, so I'm gonna open up an older one. Let's open up the... let's see, do I have the warehouse district listed here? Really? Huh, weird. Okay, let's see. So I've got the warehouse district over here. It is one of these other files. And oh, that's dumb. I have no interest in that. I will be making these public, so if you guys do want to download these maps, after we finish a region, they will be going up for people to download. You'll have to access them via our Discord, though. Mainly just because I don't want everything just going straight out into the wild, even though that's inevitable to happen anyway. Okay. So, actually, in retrospect, instead of doing this, let's pull up, D&D maps. I'm just going to drag over the, warehouse district to the side. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to be consistent with ground color and stuff like that. So this way, when everybody is looking at the same piece, like going from map to map, it's generally about the same colors. Obviously, there are going to be differences and changes and so on and so forth. Okay, so we've got the color reference sheet. It's effectively just a functional palette for the time being. Let's drag this down, and let's do this. Okay, so first thing we want to do is drag that out. Okay, so this is just the basic floor, so we don't have to think about it. I had a color for for impassable buildings. Let me see if I can go back and find that. Get out of here, OneDrive. You're stupid. Nobody likes you. Probably? Okay, here we go. I'll just keep both of these around. At some point, I'll make like a proper swatch library, but for now, this is fine. Okay. I guess if I copy the circle, okay. Maybe no. I don't want to do that. I'm not used to dictating what I have to do for these. And so you guys are just going to get the raw Wanderbot experience here. While I make a map. And for better or worse, Okay. So everything outside of this arena that we're making here is going to have to be this kind of dark brown color. We could also go with the gray, or we could go with the blue, but I think the dark brown, I might make it like a little bit grayer, but I think it's pretty good. So we move that to the back. Copy that. So I'm going to be using a lot of advanced techniques. If you guys have never used Illustrator, these might be kind of useless for you. Try and follow along. I can't explain everything because I don't want to do a how-to Illustrator tutorial. But I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool to cut a circle out of this center. Okay, so now we've got this impassable, kind of like out-of-bounds area that we've got set up now. Then I'm going to lock this with Control-2. Makes it so I can't touch this ever. I'm going to lock the bottom layer because it's not useful. That's just there as ground. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is actually grab these two. Put them in the back. Separate them out. And then we want to make it be this color. This brown. Okay, so now we've got effectively out of bounds, kind of in bounds, but not really. And we'll go from there. Realistically, I still need to change some of these things. We gotta get a box in here. On both sides. Do I want a box like this, or do I want it to like jut out a little bit more? Hard to say. Let's give it a black outline, just so we can see what we're talking about. Because yeah, usually what I do is I just kind of squiggle on the map and do some other things, but I'm going with simple geometric, make it easier. Okay. Because we could have it be like this, or we could actually do it like this. Bring it on the front, drag it down a little bit. Okay. So, oh, that's not a good feeling. Oh, it's because the box is, the wrong width. Okay, there we go. So we could actually do it something like this, where it kind of cuts into the stands a little bit on both sides. It's kind of like the intro area. Yeah, I like that better. Instead of jutting out, it kind of juts in, and maybe there will be a save point. Maybe even like kind of some barricades here. Yeah, I like that. Okay. How do we want to do it? Because inherently, I kind of want everything to match the overall style. Well, I guess actually, what I'm gonna do, extend that there. Extend this here. And we want this line in front. Okay, cool. So we got it in front. And we are going to do intersect. Makes it so it matches the area of the intersection. And there we go. So now we've got something that kind of matches the curve of the arena. And I might mess with these lines to make it a little bit less jerky, but still. But this way we end up with kind of this... Oh, it got the blue outlines. Okay, we end up with this like kind of inset area. And I'm just gonna do this here. A lot of this stuff is symbolic, but this way anybody looking at this can kind of generally get a good feel for, hey, that's what this thing is. Okay, so problem here. The staircase color is about the same. I guess I'll make it darker. That'll be fine. We don't need to be fully consistent with the color palettes here. So I'm going to drag this down. Okay. Intersect. I guess what I could do, now that I'm thinking about it, since it's perfectly symmetrical, all we have to do is just drag it to this side. Okay. So I guess I might as well kind of explain what's going on here. So this is Gorlar's arena. This is going to be a major, I guess, point of interest fairly soon for the whole party. And they're going to have to, well, deal with it, I guess. How do I want to do this? Do I want it to be slightly cut off here? Kind of tempting. If I do that. Yeah, okay, that gives it kind of more of an inset feel. And let's flip it around. I kind of wish I had some better tools for, like, flipping things properly in Illustrator. Oh, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got, like, a bit of an inset. There's a thing here. I want to get this line higher. So we got low seats, and honestly, maybe I should do one layer more. As kind of the bounds of the arena. Yeah, let's go with that. And that way we can get kind of like a faux perspective thing going on here. I chose this map to make specifically for this video because it's a little bit faster. And I can get the process down without like getting bogged too much in like, let's lay down boxes and stuff like that. Okay. So now that we've got this set up, trying to think. Because we effectively want to show like a little bit of a relief here as to everything happening. I guess if I move this up by 1, it follows the curve. There we go. Okay, so that follows the curve, so all we got to do is make shit up as we go along. Okay, let's put it back here. Let's make it line art. Is that line art? I have no idea. Shrink it by 1. That did not pan out the way I wanted it to. Oh, and it's the wrong line art too. Yeah, okay, that's not gonna work. But what if... Okay, let's delete this. Let's grab this. Let's grab this. And if I make them black outline, and we have both of them. Okay, there we go. That constrains it a little bit better. Unfortunately, it's still the same dumb blue outline situation I was trying to avoid. Okay, but there. That gives us a better bounding box. And honestly, I'm probably just going to delete these. Do I want to do that? No, we want to shrink them too. This is... I'm not used to doing art on... not command, but art for a video. So this is going to be a little odd. But it'll be worth it. Okay. Just trying to see if this actually accomplished anything or if this is kind of a waste. I mean, we've got this here. Really, what I got to do is cut this, move this to the front. You got to turn off... we got to turn off snap to grid. Oh, wrong one. Snap to grid. Is this... oh, okay. Got it. So, if I do that... move that, like, here-ish. That way it kind of feels... right. Right? Or would we rather... no. Okay, so we want to keep that. Maybe it'd be better if I actually just had this do the same thing. It gives a little bit more room in the arena, because the stands aren't honestly very important in the grand scheme of things here. Oh, I know what I need to do. I'm dumb. This is a lot easier than I gave it credit for. Okay, so we want to grab the outlines. We want to turn back on grid snapping. If I do this, leave those there. Okay, that I think is a little bit better. Yeah. Because what I can do is grab these and have them be part of the original... oh... okay, there we go. Part of the original circle. Except for I grabbed the wrong thing. I want the circle. There we go. Okay, so now we've got the proper inset situation going on. And then I'm just gonna... yep. Oh, it's still snapping a grid. Gotta be better about turning that off. Oh, it's okay. But yeah, at this point I'm just doing decorative work. If you guys know Illustrator, then awesome. And if you don't know Illustrator, it's fine. Actually, I like this kind of like weird cut in here. I think I might make that darker just for visual effect. Just as a fun thing. I don't know. And I guess the last thing is we should probably address the elephant in this section here. I guess if I here. I guess the easiest way to do it is... but I'm really confused. I was gonna have a did I might've. Well, it's too late now. Okay, let's see, snap to grid. There we go. Yeah, I got rid of this like a dunce. Okay, there we go. So now we've got kind of the relief system. So we want to grab this and this. Cut this out of this. Okay. And then if I do that, yeah. Okay. So this gives kind of a more relief-ish feel. I don't generally do 3D, but I want this arena to look kind of cool. Should I have it be top to bottom, or should we do it left to right? It might actually be best if we rotated everything. Well, luckily I'm keeping the whole thing symmetrical, so we can look into that later. Okay. Because one of the other problems is just not matching up with these lines here. Is life. Or something. No. I guess the one thing we could do is go into this. I just wanted to see if I could shrink it down any further. Whoops. I guess if we get rid of this view, we're still snapping to grid. Okay. Oh, I goofed. This is where we wanted to go, because this way it matches up perfectly. Okay. Well, luckily... easy fix. Woo. Life is weird. Oh, actually, that matches up. That's really weird. Illustrator is a bizarre program. This is part of the reason why I don't want to, like, quote-unquote, tell anybody how to do any of this. I'm just letting you guys watch me make a arena at this point. And hopefully it's helpful for some people. Okay, so we're gonna bring that up. Grab the wrong one. Okay, cool. So now we've got this kind of like, these are the walls, and then we've got this like hole here. Let's see if I can connect these. So if I do that, we put it here, group them up. Okay, go into it. Nope, that's the wrong one. So if we go into these ones are have holes in them, but since I can move it to the back, what I'm going to do instead is we're just going to dupe this ring, shrink it down by 1. That'll that'll get rid of we can get rid of the old one. Cut them out, and then fill it in with the ring, and I'll make the ring dark. Okay, cool. So this gives us kind of like this weird runway. In the center, kind of gives it a sense of striation. I guess, honestly. Let's do that. Let's put it... let's see. Cut that there. Put it in front of that. And if we do this... Okay, cool. So we've just cut a second ring out of this. So I can make one of these sections a little bit brighter. So there's a feeling of scale. Except for I should probably actually make this section a little bit lighter. There we go. So now it feels like we've got stands here. I might put in lines, I might do a lot of things, but I'm probably just going to leave the stands as kind of a vague entity that, you know, supposedly there are enemies in here. Hell, I might actually just toss a bunch of enemies just hanging out in the stands. I guess in retrospect it's fairly small. You can really just fit like 2 rows of goblins in each one of these. Whatever. More keeping this as a battlefield. Mainly, I just don't want an insanely big, I don't want this, like, insanely big structure that nobody can deal with. Okay, so I think at this point, we can get rid of these lines, maybe. Sort of. Oh, it's grid stuff again. Well, I guess we could always just move both of them to, like, right here. Oh, weird? Oh, is this after I did the cut? Yeah. So if I move these there, and this here, does that... Nah, I don't like that. Okay, so if I just put this in front of here... Okay. This'll do. It's a bit weird, but this'll do. Because, yeah, this way I can get rid of these lines. We can keep this here. Whoops. I guess I can do that. Grab the real thing, move it in front of here, grab the thing, grab it there. Okay, cool. Okay, so now that I've satisfied my mild OCD when it comes to these things, let's keep going. These probably do not have a big enough line. Nope. No stroke. And let's turn on... Let's do... Edit my settings. No. Edit preferences. Grid. I'm not used to dictating these things, so it gets kind of funky doodle. Okay. And I'm going to do... View, show grid. Ugh. And we've got snap to grid. So the reason why I turned on the subdivisions here is because I kind of want to get, like, lines across here. Of course, since I've clicked on a no-go situation. I really wish there was a way to set the grid transparency. This is why I went with my blue grid, because it's so much easier. Okay, and then I'm just going to select a couple of them. What? There we go. So what this does is kind of gives us the illusion that there's a staircase here. Honestly, what I should probably do is... Yeah, let's do this. Alright, so this is this. What the... Okay, I guess I should have grouped these up, because we seem to have run across some kind of problem here. What am I selecting? What is this? Oh, it's this? How am I even selecting that? Oh, because these have been pasted on. I was wondering about that. Okay, so I'm actually going to select both of these. We're going to make a new layer. We've got kind of the background down. Let's actually start getting the features of this arena in. And I'm full well expecting that the party is probably going to demolish much of this arena. Actually, let's get rid of these for a second. I want to do something cool. Seeing as it's got stairs, let's actually make it look like it has stairs. Let's just do 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now we've got these like little boxes in here. Let's make this one a bit brighter. Bit darker. Darkest, and then the base layer is going to be darker. Okay, there we go. So now that looks like a right proper staircase. And it's better than just having dumb lines that nobody cares about. Whoops. And let's overlay it over the old one. Delete the top one. Okay, cool. So now we've got effectively two kind of large staircase entrances. Creatures up to huge size should be able to just, you know, roll right out of them and not look terribly out of place. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make them any larger. I kind of like the inset position on this. Okay, so this is going to be the basic arena. I guess the one thing that I could do, and maybe I should do, let's have some fun with this. So let's select both of these and group them up. I'm actually going to throw them back on the background layer, because these never change. I just wanted some room to work here. So we need some room to maneuver with these things. Now, gotta turn grid snapping back on. So, not show grid. We have snapped. Oh, we have snapped to grid, but we have so many subdivisions. It's gonna make it impossible for it to matter. Okay, so let's just set it back to one subdivision, and we want to do. I'm just gonna do one last thing here. I forgot about this part. Oh. Okay. This is fine. I'll get this working in a moment. So we want to select that, make it a little bit darker. I guess I'll have to unlock all. There we go. If I put that right there. Right. This is a dumb problem to have. I'm just trying to make it look like there's kind of an exterior for the arena. And it's not panning out correct. Oh, that's fine. Okay. Guess if I select this and we just give it a nice thick black stroke. Let's make it 10, so this is kind of obviously the edge of the arena. There we go. Okay, that looks good. So this is the inner part of the stands, this is the lower stands, outer, and then, you know, there's a gate and there's some other things, but nobody should be exiting the arena. And if they do, I'm going to be in trouble. What I'm probably going to do is actually make this, port this over to the next map, which is going to be a completely different district that they shouldn't be adventuring in until I'm done with the arena. But we're going to port this into the next one just kind of in the corner so you kind of know, and I'll have some more exterior details. But since nobody's looking at it from the outside and everybody's should be focused on the this part, I think we'll be okay. I'm just realizing that the stands are super small, even by grid standards. Well, that's okay. Okay. I'm trying to think if we need something like a king's box. Yeah, we probably do. Let's see. So where's the midpoint on this? So this is the midpoint. So if you guys are not aware of medieval... if you're not aware of how, like, medieval, like, jousting arenas work, there are boxes that royalty specifically will, like, hang out in and watch from. They don't sit in the stands. What? Is the... Huh. Oh, it's because there's a bright blue box that I threw in there, too. Okay, there we go. So this will be the stands. I guess what I could do is let's turn on. Maybe if I just turn on subdivisions 2, that'll do the trick. Because 4 is too much. So if we do 2, we can do this. I just want to make it look like there's kind of an actual box here. Let me make this a bit darker. Maybe I just fuse it with this part. Kind of as this, like, thing. I really like that, actually. Okay. I'm going to do that on both sides so we can have dignitaries on both. Because presumably you'd have 2 sides, yeah? Or not. I don't know. I don't know much about medieval jousting setups. I'm mostly making up 90 something % of everything. Freaking look, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making cool shit and seeing what happens. And most of the time, it's kind of fun. Okay, so now we got a box, effectively. And this way, Gorlar and his retinue can hang out and not look like they're just some dudes in the stand. I'm gonna just... Do I want it to be like this? No, we'll have it be a slightly brighter box. I'm confused. There's like a weird warping. Well, that's fine. And why is it white? I don't know. Okay. So this is Gorlar's section of the stand. And who knows, maybe the players will be able to send pot shots up here or something like that. Probably not. That would be bad. Okay. I guess maybe if I extend it like this, yeah, that way it's not just touching the edge here. Do I like that? Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. Nah. Let's leave it like that. That seems reasonable. Kind of a weird box. I feel like I've made some kind of like weird wristwatch design. Yeah, just okay. Let's make it make it like 12 o'clock. And really, it's like 4:47 right now. Let's make it 4:47. There we go. And always got to use my font. Honestly, I really like this font. This is good font. There we go. Yep. Well, everyone, this is how you make a nice watch design. Hip and modern, leather wristband. No. Okay. So now that we've done this, let's get on to the actual fun thing. So I've made the arena design. We got a box for Gorlar. We got stands for his minions. We've got people in general. Now let's do the fun things. I should probably mark off the center point. Let's quick do that. I believe this is the center point. Just gonna make it as the same as the grid. Right there in the center. That is the center, right? Man, I have no idea. Nope, one too high. There we go. Now that's the center point. Because, yeah, you gotta cross-reference freaking everything else. Okay. I'll make it a little bit darker. And then we'll just lock it off. So this way I can kind of know how to design things around, and I don't have to worry about messing with things. So, ideally, I'd like to make the arena have a couple different variations here. We want to have the party have some issues. We don't want things to just be Cake Town all the time. Okay, so let's get both of these, link them, switch them. I don't really like this blue though. Let's make it grayer and a bit darker. Okay, there we go. And then we want to do just some kind of basic. Let's do a band across the sides here. Seems reasonable, except for we don't actually want that band across the sides to be like that. We want to have it be like wood brown, like legit wood brown. And drawbridge. Let's make it a little bit less. There we go. So these are drawbridges, and presumably maybe they can be destroyed. Let's go into this for a second. Let's shrink the ring a bunch. Let's make that water actually substantial. If Shell's going to be showing off her fishy character, we might as well give her some advantages. Or disadvantages, depending on how things turn out. But that's enough to fit a decent amount of creatures. Actually, let's keep going one more. There we go. So this gives us, this has the space to fit 2 large creatures abreast in the water. And I don't know how deep the water is necessarily going to be. But then you've got that. So I'm mostly just going to be making assets here. I'm not sure if all of these are actually going to make it into the campaign. I want to have options if I feel devilish. Unfortunately, I've got 1 day to get this whole thing set up, so that's a bit harder. Okay, so let's keep with let's keep with the design. I want to have another one where we have just a bunch of barricades all over the place. You know, kind of ruined buildings and whatnot. Okay. And this way, the party's going to have to fight using line of sight. I'm going to have to pay for the line of sight system in this game. Because that could be kind of fun. Because I know Roll20 has a specific line of sight setup that actually looks pretty cool. And it'd just be fun to have like a fight specifically where the party has to deal with, like, you know, enemies that they can't necessarily see that easily. Okay, I'm gonna just move some things around. I don't like these, I don't, since everybody's gonna be constrained to a grid, I better make sure that, everything kind of keeps to set grid. But yeah, so this is generally how I generally. This is how I usually make maps. Effectively, I've got a grid that you can snap to, and it makes it really easy for me to put down, you know, everything with minimal effort. Do gotta click off some of these sometimes. And this way we don't have to worry. This way I don't really have to worry about layouts. I don't have to worry about much of anything. It's just like, oh, hey, I can just slap stuff down wherever I want. And it makes it real easy. Let's scale this up a little bit more. But yeah, this way we can have this kind of fun sneak arena. And this place might actually take some time to get through, which I am extra looking forward to. Because, I don't know, the idea of, like, kind of a fighting arena using line of sight and traps and trickery could be really cool. Same thing with the water hazard. Just weird combat challenges and, like, odd things that could be fun. Okay, let's give them, like, a safety box here. Let's see. I don't want to let anything on about the plot here, so I'm trying to be kind of coy-ish about this or that. Because for the most part, that's why I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to do one of these videos. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, like, show my hand for anything. But I think doing, like, just a basic circular arena with, like, extremely vague features could be fun. Plus, sometimes it's nice to actually be able to see through the looking glass, sort of. And I hope you guys kind of enjoy this, like, weird sneak peek. You know, I realize I could put just a straight up maze here if I really felt like it. That'd be fun times. I don't think I'm gonna do that though. A straight up maze would be a little bit dumb. Okay, I'm actually going to put this down here. That way, oh, right. Honestly, can I just get rid of this? No, I can't. Well, yes. That look good? Yeah, that looks good. And this way I can kind of have the barriers go underneath. And that way it's kind of like, yeah, this part's not passable. And I'll probably unify all of these. I'd like to actually have each and every one of them be like movable or whatever. If I had a better setup for this, I'd actually have like everything be like its kind of own barricade. And I guess I could do that just by laying down a bunch of rectangles, but don't want to do. We can also make some fun variations here. Ooh, yeah. Let's make some fun variations on this, because I kind of want this to be one of the main sets, I guess. One of the main set pieces. I will admit, I've been making, over the course of this campaign, I've been making things maybe a little bit too video gamey. But as a person who obviously, you know, loves gaming, it's kind of fun to do a a very video gamey D&D campaign. And the idea of, like, sitting down and, you know, making something that I'd like to see in a video game is kind of fun. Let's extend this down. I'm gonna make another, like, building here. Building. Let's see, where's another good spot for one? I guess right here would be good. Stick this here. Stick this here. Take this off. Extend that over. Okay. Perfect. And maybe I'll do like maybe I'll do like doors. Movable doors probably wouldn't be impossible. Just realized this has got the exact same layout as the other one. Okay, let's nix this. Actually, let's nix it in this direction. Okay, and I'll unify everything. Okay, cool. So this gives us this. I'm going to make it grayer and darker. Maybe not that dark. Like that? Yeah, like that. That looks good. Kind of blends in. Looks a little wacky. But it's fine. Okay, cool. So this should be kind of fun to deal with. Now let's add some features to this. Okay, so now we've got this as one big group. Let's see. Let's see, what would a fun feature be? I mean, I could mess with it, I could change the layout, but honestly, I might as well make my own at that point. I like water, I like using water, considering 2 out of 3 of the party members are largely amphibian. Maybe using water would be kind of fun. I mean, heck, it'd actually be kind of fun to flood the whole thing. I like the idea of every once in a while just taking Greg down a serious notch, if only because he is generally by far the largest damage dealer of the entire party. Mainly just because early game freaking paladins, fighters, and barbarians, and rangers are just these kind of overpowered juggernauts in comparison to the caster classes. And then eventually the mage power creep eventually just overrides it and makes the wizards really good. But let's do... I should have like a switch somewhere. I don't know where the switch would be. Maybe the switch should be somewhere like semi-obvious, like right there. I'm gonna make it kind of obvious, like a tan. How about like a little tan box with an X on it? It's usually what these are. Usually the party doesn't get to see them, but today they get to. So I'll get that one. So if they press this, we get... Okay. If we do this, we get the partially flooded monster maze. So I'm gonna copy that water. Get the water hazard out of here. What is this? Oh, right, that's the circle again. Okay. So if we do this... Okay. Let's see. I'll have to, let's copy the group. Oh, I locked it, didn't I? Yep, was not paying attention. Okay, let's ungroup this. I'm going to do partially flooded monster maze. I'm going to keep some of the bits the same. But destroy a lot of other things. That was a really dumb looking cut. There we go. Not better. It's a little better. Let's see. So let's hide the original. Ooh. Okay. Lock this, grab all these things except for this one. Okay, and let's go back up to the partially flooded monster maze. And hide the old monster maze. Okay, cool. So this way I can do quote-unquote damage without harming the original product. And so we end up with these flooded areas that are no longer nearly as complete as they used to be. Let's go back to this. I'm just gonna take a big old chunk out of this. Oops. But yeah, ultimately this is how I have made my map so far. There's not too much more than this. It's usually just kind of like screwing around and being like, this looks kind of nice, and feeling proud of myself. And then sitting down later, I guess the next part of the process, if you guys were to follow along with this, would be to get like a notepad and mark off like every room with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, and just say like, hey, these are the different features, I guess, of each room. So this room is the Reclaimer hideout. This room is the Wizard's warehouse. This room is the area with all the drow in it. And you kind of make it into this fun little game of like, you know, where does everything go and what are the players going to find in these places? It's, I don't know, it's enjoyable. I'm gonna just do this. Technically, this one I'm going to have to modify a bit. Let's see. So, we want to connect these two parts-ish. Doesn't seem to want to join. Oh, it's because I'm on snapping to grid. Unfortunately, working properly while snap to a grid looks really funky in this game. There we go. So yeah, this way we end up with like a ton of water just kind of on the ground. And it destroys the environment. Oh, you know what? Okay, we're gonna save a couple options here. Let's finish taking out the partially flooded monster maze. Okay. So this way we have a lot more room to maneuver. However, my thoughts are we're gonna have a third option. Can I just dupe this? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the flooded monster maze is going to be largely the same. The exception being everything's underwater. No, well, yeah, actually, really. Let's see if I can get access to this inner ring. There we go. Okay, so let's lock this off. For the flooded monster maze, we want that in the background. Or do we? What the? I think oh, I know what I did. Okay, so let's hide the partially flooded monster maze. So we've got this, but let's go stylistic here. Let's bring it on top. Let's set it to multiply. There we go. Oh, it unfortunately doesn't make the doors look, or the staircases look flooded. Here. Easy solution. Move them here. There we go. So now the whole place looks hella flooded. and murky and dark and fun. Thing is, we're gonna have to have like a couple of dry spots here, if only because. So maybe these, every room with the every room with these doorways is going to be a safe zone. So let's go back to this. Yeah, it looks like this thing is totally modifiable. Oh, but we're not on the grid anymore. Select, no, view, snap to grid. Okay, we're gonna bring this to the front. We want to just select this. I may not be getting the point here. I guess actually if I hide this, there we go. Nope, there we go. Okay, so we turn this back on. So yeah, this way every room that was quote-unquote closed off is a safe spot. Which makes it a little bit harder. Or more interesting? I don't know. Unfortunately, this will be a little bit hard on Greg, maybe? But maybe not. I'll have to think on, like, what specifically lurks in these deaths. But for this specific setup, and I actually am really enamored with this setup right now, what would happen is everybody would have access to the original maze. And then there's the lever. And one team or both team or neither team flips it, and maybe it just goes off automatically. You know what? Let's do that. Let's get rid of the lever and tie. Oh wait, no. That's even better. Let's unlock this. Let's take the lever. Actually, let's leave the lever there. But we're also going to put it here. So the lever does two things. One, it starts it, so if somebody pulls it early, it floods the whole area. If somebody does it after it's flooded, it unfloods the whole area. So effectively, to get Greg out, or to get Greg to safety specifically, they have to unflood the arena. Yeah, I like that. I really like that. Okay. Because this kind of raises the stakes and makes it more interesting and gives Keith and Shell a chance to do stuff specifically without Skitter and Greg. Which, like, I kind of like playing to the characters' different strengths, and I feel like throwing a water hazard is maybe a little bit too much of a gimme. But gimmies are fun. Now, what would the next one be? So we've got the basic monster maze, flooded monster maze, and partially flooded monster maze. And I'll save these as different things. Honestly, what I'll probably save them as is the ring, this like kind of inner arena area, and I'll just lay it out every single time, or maybe I'll have them leave them as separate maps. I'm not sure. I'll work on it. So what do we want next? Weird ideas that can mess with everything. I mean, honestly, I don't want to spend too long in this arena. Just like a session or two for funsies. And to be kind of dynamic and interesting. Maybe I should leave the water hazard out because we've just made a much better water hazard thing. I mean, the other option is we actually just leave the entirety of the arena section to be in this flooded zone. We're going to want a confrontation that is purely just open arena. There's nothing else. What else do we want? I don't know. I haven't watched enough things with an actual arena, especially one where the arena changes. I've watched too much where it's just Dragon Ball Z, where like you start in a circular arena, then you fly up into the sky and hit each other, and it's like, what's the point of having an arena to begin with? Thank you, Cell Games. Oh well. Actually, I have not seen enough Dragon Ball Z to even comment on that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just messing around and braining at things that probably don't need to be brained at. But it's fun. I enjoy this sort of thing. And I'm going to keep messing around with this some more. So honestly, I think I'm actually going to call it here. This way we got a hour-long episode where you guys kind of get the gist of how I make maps. And honestly, at some point I could sit down and explain, like, how I make this instead. But, like, this really isn't that much different from the arena. It's just the shape's different, maybe a little bit of the logic. But ultimately, I'm just kind of filling shapes in and then thinking, hey, what could go in here? What could go in here? And this way, you guys kind of know what program I use and so on and so forth, just to get the process down. So, I guess with this, before we go, just a reminder, this is all done in Adobe Illustrator. You can easily do the same thing in Photoshop, and you can probably do the same thing with, like, GIMP, maybe a couple others, I'm not entirely sure. That said, I have no knowledge on how to do it, and I won't be doing a tutorial as such, because I'd have to teach myself before teaching you guys, and that's a pain in the ass. I'll teach what I know. But, so, yeah. Again, I use Adobe Illustrator for this, so if you want to do the same thing, you got to go through that. Any version of Adobe Illustrator will work. Heck, freaking Flash works too, now that I think about it. It might actually be faster and easier to learn if you guys are kind of starting on map making and stuff like that. But yeah, so I guess that's how I make maps, and obviously we've got some more time to work on here, but we've got this cool thing that I can't wait to throw at people. So we've got, you know, maze, flooded maze, and then kind of the end of it, and then it gets wiped clean, and maybe move on to the final confrontation. I'm not entirely sure. But so if you guys want to see more like how-to videos, I can sort of easily do them. They're a little bit weird for me, but they are enjoyable, and I'd like to do more. So I guess if you guys have anything that you want me to cover next, let me know. I'm toying with the idea of just doing a basic how to D&D video. The problem is I'm not even sure how to start with that, which would be a bit of a nightmare. And honestly, there's a lot of really good resources out there already if you guys are willing to look. So I might just kind of wuss out on that and not do it. I don't know. Either way, this has been a lot of fun, and I hope this was at least somewhat helpful for you guys, either as kind of a sneak peek for things coming up, a way of learning my process, or just kind of a fun little side thing. I don't know. But I guess one way or another, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.